episode 553 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering, especially if you are ready to plunge into the wilds of Eldraine.
I am so ready.
Me too.
This set looks sweet. I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And on today's show, we are in fact plunging into a forest. Is that something you can do? Forest plunging?
I think so.
Well,
it's not a downward, it's like an inward. And you can plunge in any direction.
Well, you can also do forest bathing. That's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can bathe, you can plunge.
What?
That's what I say. What you said, yeah, like you knew what I was talking about.
I'm so primed to agree.
But you've never heard
now
of
I have to stop for a second and be like,
bathing?
What?
Yeah, it's where you go into the forest and then you just let yourself be bathed in the forest surroundings. So
this is a bath in the same way that a sound bath is a bath.
Correct. You're going into the forest, you're letting yourself get forested, you're hearing the birds, you're smelling the trees, you're feeling the wind, and you're having a forest bath.
All right.
So you can
We're going to have
plunge.
a forest bath in Wilds of Eldraine today.
That's right. We
What a nice
absolutely
time.
are. Fairies, don't look. Well, you don't have to forest bathe naked, but I do.
Wow.
Just for fun.
But not on today's episode, question
No,
mark?
not on today's episode.
Okay.
We're going to have Judge Rob here to get you ready for your Wilds of Eldraine pre-release coming up this weekend.
Yes.
So excited.
Very exciting.
It's been a hot minute since Judge Rob has been here, which is weird because we had a train where Judge Rob was here
Judge Rob was here like a lot.
every episode. And we're welcoming him back to help us out with his pre-release because there's a lot of really cool and kind of weird stuff that's going on in this set.
Absolutely.
And we want you to be ready when you head to your store to play in this pre-release this weekend.
Know what's
to
up.
go in with the knowledge, because guess what? You've got to have it in your brain, and it's not going to be there on Arena first for you.
No.
You've got to have it in your brain matter, the gray stuff, the
But
gray
don't
cells.
worry, you will be a step ahead, a tier above of forest bathed
You will be forest bathed.
by listening to this episode.
This episode counts as a forest bath. I just want to put that out there. If you need to get your weekly forest bath in, this is good for it. It will mark
you
on
only
your
forest bath
Apple
once
Watch.
a week. You wash your hair when you do that? Anyways, before we get started, though, we have some people to thank. First and foremost amongst them are you, the listeners, and especially the patrons of this show. Thank you so much, especially to Marco. Marco, this one's for you. Marco, it's a walk in the parko
Absolutely.
with you on our side.
Can you park bathe? It's a little different.
Well, you know what? I think yes. I think the
why
answer
not?
is yes.
Why not? Thank you so much, Marco. This episode is sponsored by Marco, and if you want a shout out and an episode dedicated to you, you can do it by going to patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Wow, Marco, you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck with this
Seriously.
one. Like a Judge Rob
That's a
that's
big
just
deal.
yours?
It's a big deal.
That's a lot of episode.
Yeah, and if you want the next episode, which is going to be all about our pre-release experience, well, then you better get in there, everybody.
Yeah.
Before next episode, because we want to say thank you and make some puns on your names.
Yeah.
For the show.
Will they be good? Under no circumstances.
No, absolutely not. But you get access to our awesome Discord, which you can share your pools and everything with all of our great community and a lot of other awesome perks. Check it out. Patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Thank you as well to Card Kingdom. Cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
That's their jingle.
Love that riff.
That's their jingle.
Real nice. The place to go to pre-order Wilds of Eldraine.
Pre-order it.
Yes.
Get yourself a Wilds of Eldraine before anybody else.
Before anyone else.
Be the cool kids on the block.
Ahead of the curve.
Yeah. You know, the DST ending used to be so much more, or ST, just used to be so much more popular. And now it's not anymore.
We're going to bring it back for you.
And I miss it, quite frankly, to be franks with you.
We miss it.
It is missed.
it.
Like we have slept, that's one.
Yeah.
But we don't have walked.
We don't Travelist to cardkingdom.com/GLHF to purchase.
We're bringing it back.
This excellent set.
We love them. Card Kingdom is a fantastic company. Put your money where your mouth is when you want to support great businesses. Card Kingdom is the #1 A+ tip top Michelin star rated. I guess it is a restaurant, so that's not true. But
Okay, you know how there's a lot of comedy, especially from like the 90s, that I feel like is centered around what was originally done by Amelia Bedelia herself, which is like someone from outside misunderstanding misunderstanding. A phrase.
Oh, a phrase specifically.
Yes.
Okay, so give me an example
But
here.
I'm just saying, okay, if an alien arrived and someone was like,
Think about it every day.
Put your money where your mouth is. They would think that
They would
you
eat
meant
it.
to eat it.
Yes,
Amelia
they would.
Bedelia would absolutely eat dollars
the money.
when she was told, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, aliens
Anyways.
constantly confused by us. Our
And I'm
language
just saying,
is obscure and
exactly.
ridiculous.
If this was a 90s comedy for kids,
I mean, our show is as close to a 90s comedy for kids that you can get in a podcast.
yeah, that is
quite
currently being
honestly.
made today. Yes. It would absolutely have like someone arriving and misunderstanding and eating money. Anyways.
I mean, the kids are really turned off by how much we discuss David Duchovny's face. But other than that, the content, they love it.
Our friend Anna just yesterday was like, what is something that you and Maria have different opinions on? And like, I was like, let me tell you, Anna, it's not appropriate for the kids podcast that Anna does in fact produce.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was like,
we could go on and argue that.
argue about David Duchovny's face. And she's like, yeah, no, that is too weird for kids. And I was like,
That's several levels ahead of them, unfortunately.
yep. But someday,
The people need to hear
someday
it.
they too will grow up and watch a 90s television show called The X-Files. And then they're going to have opinions.
They will. They truly will.
You can get them ready for those opinions with our show right now.
You could raise your kids on Good Luck High Five to become really weird adults. We
And
guarantee
that's
it.
our promise to you.
Wow, wow. That was the guitar riff. Hey, everybody, it's time to welcome Judge Rob into the program. Hi, Judge Rob. How
Hello.
you doing?
Doing very well. It's a great summer. I finally have air conditioning back in my car after getting it fixed this last week.
I'm sorry you had to wait through the heat of the
Yeah.
Minnesotan summer for that.
Of the worst Minnesotan summer in living memory.
Yes, and the worst summer, the worst July in Earth's memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
In our memory of Earth's memory.
Yeah, in human history of Earth's
Yeah, it's
memory.
It's true. There were probably hotter ones in like the Cretaceous period or something.
Good point.
I love eating Cretaceous. Keep moving. Please ignore me.
Moving on.
Moving on.
This one.
Rob is here, as he always is, at the start of a new set to get us ready for the Wilds of Eldraine pre-release coming up this weekend. This
Yes.
set is very cool and has some really weird and neat stuff going on in it.
does.
And Rob's going to let you in on all the secrets on how to be ready for the pre-release this weekend. But before we dive into the new and returning mechanics and the individual cards themselves, you like to kick it off with a PSA.
Yeah. My PSA for this week is try things.
Oh, like
Like-
crustaceans?
Yes, like you might find out. So when I was a kid, I hated Swiss cheese. Turns out Swiss cheese is like in the top 5 cheeses, and so for me right now,
That is a
Wow,
hot take.
take.
Yeah.
Hot take.
But all right.
it goes on Rubens. How could it not be? But what I'm saying though is like foods, magic formats, anything interesting, anime that you used to hate. Try things. Try things that you used to hate. Try things that you think you might hate. Think what's the best that could happen when you're trying something out. And your tastes do change over time. People grow up, people change, people have hormonal changes in their body, people, have random head trauma, and now everything tastes different.
You curious for new foods? Consider random head trauma.
Yeah. But point being is that you are a different person than the you of a year or 10 years ago. Try stuff out.
Literally, because
yeah.
your cells are
Right.
changed
Yeah.
out.
Well, that's kind of like you have tattoos, right? Like this is a funny bit. Like, did all the cells change out in your tattoos in the last 7 years?
Oh.
No,
No,
they didn't.
they couldn't have.
Yeah,
they couldn't have. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
But here's the thing, Rob. Literally a few days ago, I tried a crab cake, and now I hate crab, and I refer to them as sea bugs, just like prawns are sea bugs
Yeah.
to me.
Or shrimp.
Shrimps.
Yep.
And I tried it, but I didn't hate it for the first time in my life.
Yep.
I was shocked, everybody. Shocked.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that cake is one of the top ways to eat crab.
Yeah. Just
Not
put
just
it in a cake.
Crack it and eat it. That's
No, I
or
think-
get it on some like in a sushi roll.
Okay, that's a pretty top way to eat crab.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm just saying you could have your crab out there, and if you've
Right.
never drafted or built a control deck, maybe that's your crab, you
Yeah.
know?
And you might try it and it'll go badly and you'll hate it again. And that's fine. Like you're going to live to be some number of years old. And I don't know.
You heard it here
What do I
first.
pick? Like 80?
Some number?
Some number.
You'll live to be some amount of years old, and if you don't retry things, then you'll never realize the stuff that you're missing. This isn't to say that, if you're one of those people that like mayonnaise makes you physically gag just looking at it, you don't need to try mayonnaise. But if you have the chance to try something that's reasonably low risk, do it.
I think that you should keep getting that mayonnaise closer to your face until you barf.
Oh, are we on, what is it, avoidance therapy?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Little bit of mayonnaise.
Experience?
Or like, whatever it is that they call it.
Like a peanut allergy.
Every day you just try and get it closer to your face. Don't come to me for advice.
We're not a medical podcast.
No, I'm just saying try it random stuff and fail.
My advice was quite bad.
Get closer and closer to that mayonnaise every day.
Every day.
Thanks, Rob. Great PSA, great advice. Try something new this pre-release. You might surprise yourself. Or you might barf. One of the two.
Yep.
But you can't get any worse than that, probably. So that's the upside. All right, that's your PSA. Now on to returning mechanics.
Yeah,
in this
returning
set.
mechanics. There's two big ones. One is very recently returning, as in it was just in Lord of the Rings pretty heavily. Food.
Yeah, food.
Food's back. Anything that makes a food, it makes an artifact token that is 2-tap sacrifice, gain 3 life. And there's a bunch of things. So like Sweet Tooth Witch makes a food. It's black and 2 for a 3/2 creature human warlock. When Sweet Tooth Witch enters the battlefield, create a food token. It's an artifact with 2 taps, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. And it has 2 mana, sacrifice a food. Target player loses 2 life. Food's also a subtype. All these food artifacts get created with the food subtype. And there's also a bunch of food cards, like Surge Injury the Meal Ender is a food, just straight up card. And so these can sacrifice any foods, or Sweet Tooth Witch can sacrifice any food. You don't get the life. You pick which one thing you're sacrificing it to. Either the Sweet Tooth Witch baking it into an evil pie or eating it yourself. So you get one or the other out of food.
I just want to point out that this Sweet Tooth Witch has literally baked somebody's heart into a pie. Yep. That's canon. That's in the flavor text.
Yeah.
What do you think happened in Hansel and Gretel?
Did they really get baked into pie?
Well, that's her plan. Yeah. Like it doesn't happen, but
like it's implied that she has in the past been successful.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, you were just in Wales. Did you have steak and kidney pie?
Absolutely not.
Fair. So the other returning mechanic is adventuring.
Yay!
Oh, adventuring is so fun. So we'll look at Aquatic Alchemist here. It's blue and 1. It is on the normal part of the card.
Very cute.
It is very
well.
cute.
Very cute.
It's a creature elemental. It's 1/3, and it says when you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, Aquatic Alchemist gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And it has this other second text box on this left side, Bubble Up, which is blue and 2 for a sorcery adventure. Put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Then exile this card. You may cast the creature later from exile. So when you adventure a creature, you pay the adventure half, which is always an instant or sorcery. You send it off to the adventure zone, and then later you can cast the creature. Stuff to note. The adventure is an instant sorcery. It exiles on the resolution of that instant or sorcery. If they spell stutter your spell and you don't pay for it and it's countered, it doesn't go on an adventure. It goes to your graveyard instead.
That's a different kind of adventure.
Yeah, it's a different kind of adventure. Death would be a great adventure, as they say. And so if it has a target, so in this case, this targets an instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. If that gets exiled in response, the target's illegal. It fails to resolve. It doesn't go to the adventure zone. It doesn't go to exile. Adventure spells are only their base type when they're not on the stack. So there's creatures and there's a cycle of enchantments. In the library, they are the creatures or the enchantments. They're never an instant or sorcery. And that means Bubble Up can't target an adventure in your graveyard. In your graveyard, it's also just the base type of the card. So you can't bubble up another Bubble Up from your graveyard in order to keep going forever.
No bubble baths in this set.
No repeated bubble baths. You can bubble bath once.
Okay.
And however, there are some things, I'm going to call out like Johann Apprentice Sorcerer, that lets you cast instant or sorcery spells like it just has instant or sorcery spells. So like Johann Apprentice Sorcerer is red, blue, 2 for a 2/5. He's a legendary creature, human wizard. He says, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and once each turn you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library. And so Johann lets you cast adventures off the top of your library. They're instant sorcery spells, you cast them, they came from that place. Johann lets you cast them. It doesn't matter what they were in the library because Johann cares what they are on the stack as an instant or sorcery is the spell.
Oh, that's so weird.
It's weird and it's cool. So Johann's better than you might initially think because there's a lot of instants and sorceries in this set due to adventure.
Johann has also created a Fantasia situation.
Yeah, oh, very much so. Very much so.
This is what we call a classic Fantasia.
Yes. I think he taught his elementals how to read, and literacy is the gateway to Marxist revolution.
Oh, yeah.
And so
honestly, good for those elementals.
Yeah.
Good for Johann.
Yeah, they formed a commune and,
beautiful.
more power to them.
Truly beautiful.
The other thing with adventures, there's a bunch of cross-color adventures now. There's like otters with green adventures and like foxes with white adventures and stuff.
It's cute.
It's very cute. The cross-color adventures, if you're playing Commander or Oathbreaker or anything else that cares about color identity, have the color identity of both sides. So they count the adventure component for their color identity.
Great.
So you can't play if you have a blue otter with a green adventure on it, you can't play it in a mono blue commander deck.
That makes sense.
Yep. As much as color identity is just kind of a weird thing. That's just the way that it is.
So those are all the returning mechanics in this set. And now we are on to new mechanics.
New stuff.
Which I am a big fan of this next one.
The rolls. Rolls are a new thing. They're special they're special enchantment tokens. So Splashy Spellcaster is an elemental, blue and 3 creature elemental wizard. It's a 2/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a sorcerer roll token attached to up to one other target creature you control. And the reminder text says, if you control another roll on it, put that one into the graveyard. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, scry 1.
Well, it makes sense because you can't play 2 rolls in the play. You can.
You if you're playing tiny rolls, you can play a lot of them. But we'll say these are all main rolls.
These are all leads.
These are all the leads, and they're the roles in the story. Rolls are pretty close to being +1/+1 counters, except for Cursed Roll. And so mostly they're +1/+1 and then do a little bonus thing.
And what's cool is you have tokens with these rolls on them, everybody, and there's one on each top and bottom.
Yeah, there's a top, and then there's upside down, there's another roll.
Yeah.
And so you will turn the thing over, you'll tuck it underneath to show which one is the one that's available to them.
Yeah, really neat.
And so there's 6 of them. I have them all here as images. I don't really want to go through all of them because it's a lot.
That's fine.
But Cursed Roll is, like I said, the one really weird one, which is Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creature has base power and toughness 1/1.
Seems good. Seems like one of the better rolls.
Well, it's a good roll, but there's cards that put it on your own stuff.
Ooh,
so most of the time you put rolls on your own things, and you can only have one roll. But it's one roll per player is actually the rule. So if my opponent has, say, a Wicked roll on their creature, and I cast something that lets me put a Cursed roll on their creature as well, it'll have a Wicked roll from me or from them and a Cursed roll from me.
Oh, interesting.
And so the one roll per player is the line. So you have to track which roll that came from. The other thing is, because Cursed roll goes in your opponent's creatures, you still control it if you created it. So if you play a card that creates a Cursed roll on an opponent's creatures, you still control that Cursed roll. And there's a lot of things, which we'll get to in a second, that let you sacrifice enchantments or tokens. And Cursed roll will apply for both. You can sacrifice the thing on your opponent's creature.
Okay.
There are two cards that put Cursed rolls in your own that I could remember offhand, and it's kind of a free enchantment that lets you upgrade later by sacrificing the roll, which is pretty neat.
So there's Wicked, Cursed, Monster, Sorcerer, Royal, and Young Hero.
Yes.
Those are the 6.
And
which one do you think is your role personally? For each of you.
Ooh, good question.
I know which one I am.
Which one are you?
I'm Monster.
Monster? You want Monster roll? You
I'm
get +1/+1 and trample?
Yeah.
Rob, which one do you want?
I mean, want?
I mean, I would say which one are you?
Okay.
I'm probably
What's
Sorcerer.
your truth?
Like Sorcerer isn't.
Rob is Sorcerer for sure.
So you get +1/+1 whenever you attack. Scry 1. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yep.
God, which one am I? Spooky. I want to be the royal role, but I don't know if I am.
I think that you are.
Role.
That was my pick for you.
I agree. Yep.
I have Ward 1. That just makes sense because of all of the hexproof decks I play.
Yeah.
Great rolls, everybody. We're going to do one heck of a show in the barn.
So the next thing that I want to talk about is bargain. Bargain is a new additional cost that go on spells. So like Troublemaker Oof here is green and 1 for a 2/2 creature Oof. It has bargain. You may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast this spell. When Troublemaker Oof enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So if you remember Casualty from Streets of New Capenna, this is really similar. It's as an additional cost, you can do this thing. It's totally optional. You can just play the Oof as a 2/2 for 2. And then bargain lets you sack something and then does something extra or changes the cost. So there's like a 6/6 giant for 7 that you can bargain to get 2 mana off of it. It can change other costs on the spell. So it can be, if you bargain this down costed, it can add targets to the spell. It can do other random things. But you have to look for if this was bargained to do this thing. And it only applies if you're casting the spell. So Troublemaker Oof here, if you flicker it, which there's a bunch of ways to do in this set, you can't bargain it. You can only bargain when you cast it.
Okay.
And as this is where I mentioned, if you created a cursed roll attached to your opponent's creatures, you can bargain with the Oof by shipping your own cursed roll in order to get the value from it, which is interesting. It came up a bunch at the PPR.
Yeah.
Very nice. Also, great flavor text here.
Oh, yeah. The heavy is the head that wears the vase.
Yeah.
Ooh, very fancy
Obviously,
way of saying vase, Rob.
Is that not how it's pronounced?
Do you not say vase? Have you never said put those flowers in a vase?
Put the flowers in the vase?
You've never said vase?
I don't. I might be wrong.
I have to keep saying, you've never said vase?
Hold on. I think we have somebody else who's
get
wearing the royal role.
Yeah, I get most of my vocabulary from reading, so it's very possible that I'm just wrong.
No, you can
very
say
legitimate
either
way
way.
to pronounce
Yeah,
it.
you can say it either way. You can say my way or you can say fancy way, which is your way.
Okay, that's fair. Then I'll be fancy.
Okay, so that is bargain.
Yeah, bargain. The next new thing is celebration. So let's look at Armory Mice here.
Because they're so
They're adorable.
cute.
They have a job and they're working together as a team, and they're
teamwork mice. It's really.
And it looks like they're quenching this, which is pretty weird. But I'm excited that they have the power to quench a gauntlet. Armory Mice though, white and 1 for a 3/1 creature mouse. They have celebration. Armory Mice gets +0/+2 as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So celebration is an ability word. It doesn't mean anything on its own. Every single card with celebration spells out as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn as part of what they do. And some of them are like the mice here, where it's a static ability. Some are a triggered ability. A bunch are like at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you had 2 or more things enter, do a thing. And they might have triggers or static abilities, or they might be part of something resolving, that it resolves better due to celebration. And the thing with celebration is it counts creating tokens. So any of these creatures that enter the battlefield and create a food, you get to celebrate for them.
Great.
Anytime that you make a permanent that gives something a roll, you get to celebrate for it.
Oh, I celebrate for food a lot.
Yeah, yes, food causes me to celebrate all the time.
Absolutely. So that's all of the old and returning old and new mechanics, returning and new.
Yep.
Now we're going to move on to individual cards that you might find tricky.
Yeah. And I like to start with common stuff. Brave the Wilds, I think, is going to come up a bunch. So it's a single green sorcery. It has bargain. So you can sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast this. If the spell was bargained, target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste that's still a land.
This is 1 mana.
That's 1 mana. And the thing is that it makes it what I want to call out. So the other part is search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Mm-hmm. The land is a creature forever. This doesn't have a duration on it. So yeah.
You're right, because normally it's like until end of turn.
Yes, it would say until end of turn. So be aware that this is conceivably way better than you think.
This is really good, maybe?
Yeah.
Make 3/3.
Yeah, make a 3/3.
Get a land.
And it gives you back the land that like you're trading away by making it into a 3/3, right?
Yeah.
It still taps for mana, still does all the things that it does. It has haste, so no matter what order you click things or whether or not Arena tracks which land is which, it'll be able to attack that turn if you want to be able to attack with it. And I don't know, this is good early because it fixes your mana. Don't feel bad about not making the 3/3, but then when you draw it late, it turns a land into a 3/3 and gives you back a land. So, I mean,
this card seems great.
This is great.
Okay.
I'm going to play this in a lot of limited decks.
Absolutely.
Witch's Mark is the next one that I want to talk about. It's red and 1 for a sorcery.
Oh, I love this card.
This is so good. I just want to say the art in this set is some of the best I've ever seen.
It's out of this world. It's incredible.
Like they really spent a lot of time making sure this felt very storybook and has a lot of just cool things going on. I'm super happy with the art
Would
here.
you wear this demon mask? Circle yes or no?
Absolutely yes. It looks so good.
All right, Rob. Well, you don't know what's going to happen to you. You might start saying vase instead of Oz. You know what I mean?
I mean,
What happened to Rob? He says vase now.
so
Well, you see, Maria bullied him about it for 15 minutes of the podcast. Pretty straightforward.
Look, I don't know. In the comments, let me know what you say because I just.
they're just going to type the word vase.
See people typing, I say it vase.
Yeah.
V-A-S-E.
Yeah.
This poll has gone wrong.
So, Witch's Mark, red and 1 for a sorcery. This has what I consider to be text that's backwards. It says you may discard a card if you do draw 2 cards. Then create a Wicked Roll token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. Targets are chosen as the spell goes in the stack. So the target's actually first. If you pick the target, if you pick a target and they kill your creature in response, very possible, then you don't do the rest of it. Even though that Wicked Roll stuff, the target thing is underneath it. It's really backwards to me the way that they put this together because it doesn't really matter.
How would you say it, Rob?
I would have just reversed the two sections.
Sure.
Because then it's clear that the targeting's up front and the other part feels more dependent on it.
Yeah.
And because you have to choose the Wicked Roll token up front or the Wicked Roll target up front anyways. So like you don't get anything from spelling it out the other order. So just remember if all of the targets of a spell are illegal, then the whole spell doesn't resolve, even if there's other stuff as part of it. And I think this is really kind of a little strange for a common to be this backwards. They haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with you, Rob.
So Rowan's Grim Search is an instant for black and 2. It has bargain, so you can sacrifice something. If the spell was bargained, look at the top 4 cards of your library, then put up to 2 of them back on top of your library in any order, and the rest into your graveyard. So look at 4, 2 into the graveyard, 2 on top, and then you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. This is the order on this matters, and it's very cool because you get to look at 2, look at 4, decide what to do with them, and then you get to draw the 2 that you like. It becomes a very different spell if you bargain it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best version of this spell we've ever seen, I think, if you bargain it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty handily. It's very funny because normally it'd be like, oh, this is an instant speed divination. That's really cool. They put an instant speed divination in the set in blue. There's just straight up blue and 2, draw 2 cards instant.
Power creep.
Right?
Sometimes
right?
it's great.
What are we living?
And so Rowan's Grim Search is a little less impressive when you know that there's an instant speed divination in the same set as this. But it's still really good.
Wow, get wrecked, divination. Get out of our core sets forever.
Apparently divination is just outclassed now.
Unreal.
Frantic Firebolt is an instant for red and 2. Frantic Firebolt deals X damage to target creature, where X is 2 plus the number of cards in your graveyards that are instant cards, sorcery cards, and or have an adventure.
You see, they had to say it that way because what you told us before, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. It has to know that they're not instants and sorceries in the graveyard and count them as adventures. And so the thing with this is there's a couple of instant speed graveyard removal cards. They can change your number by eating your graveyard. Mm-hmm. And the number doesn't get locked in until resolution. So you pick a target and then the number is determined when it resolves. So that number could go up or down in the time between you cast it and when the spell resolves.
I'm really sorry to make a digression very quickly, but I just wanted to say, so Rowan's... Nope, I'm not. You're right. I'm like not sorry. Because it's happening, and if I was really sorry, I wouldn't be doing it. Anyway, Rowan's Grim Surge. This horse is great.
This art is also great.
This art is great. This horse is great. And it also reminded me, I saw this shirt, someone wearing this shirt today, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. And is it from something? Or is it just someone made this weird shirt?
What shirt are you talking about?
The front of the shirt says, I'm never going to buy another horse. Never. No way. Won't happen. And the back of the shirt says, well, maybe just one more. And it has a little picture. It's a really cute little drawing of a horse on it. Is this shirt from something? Or is this just a great shirt?
I think this is clip art. Look at the front of this. I think they used clip art for this whole thing.
I think that they did, probably, right? Like, this looks like it was designed.
To buy another horse.
It does look like it was designed in PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you have enough money to buy multiple horses, certainly you can hire a better graphic designer than that shirt.
No, they spent all their money on horses.
Well, the very funny bit is that actually, like, this is very appealing because it looks amateurish, right?
Yeah.
It's just that the back of the shirt is just what got me first, which it's so cute.
Yeah.
And like I was looking at the back and I was like looking at the back of the shirt and I was like, there's no way that this shirt is about buying horses. Why would it be?
What a bizarre thing to put on a shirt.
I like made my way around the front of this person surreptitiously so that I could read the front of their shirt, and it turned out
you have to ask them about it if you see them again. Because
I will.
I'm so curious.
Well,
is it just a joke
I'm going to be their best friend because I'm going to also purchase this shirt and wear it.
Well, yeah, this subverts expectations, whichever side you see first, right?
No matter what. Anyways, that was sorry about that digression. It happened to me today. So isn't that a great shirt?
That's a great shirt.
If you know if it's from something, listeners, like please tell me.
Right? If you do know, write the word vase in the comments below.
Is this just maybe it's just one of those people who makes bad shirts.
It could be just like an AI made that shirt. You know, like sometimes you'll see like,
yeah,
I'm a veteran. I only eat cookies. And if you mess with my wife and or girlfriend, you'll get these fists.
Anyway, sorry. Thank you for the digression, everyone. I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Don't be sorry. We're going to move on to Tough Cookie, which is one of the, apparently the name is also a pun in Spanish as well, which is very good.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It means, if you look in Spanish, it's the name basically means one who delivers a punch or one who delivers a pastry.
Oh, that's great.
From a Spanish speaking friend. So Tough Cookies.
It is repartortas.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's green and 1 for a 2/2 artifact creature, food golem. So this is one of these foods that other things can sacrifice. When Tough Cookie enters the battlefield, create a food token. So Tough Cookie brings another food as well. And green and 2, target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. And it also has the food text, which isn't mandatory on food, but it happens to have it. 2 tap and sacrifice Tough Cookie to gain 3 life.
This is going to win Best Bear at the end of the year in the Crimbies. Yeah. I mean,
without question.
This is Best Bear I've ever seen.
This might be the best bear. It makes 2 pieces of material and one of them's a 4/4.
Yeah, it's really good.
So talking about that 4/4, so you activate that ability, and if the food came out this turn, it won't be able to attack. Summoning Sickness tracks if that object entered the battlefield since the beginning of your most recent turn.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a previous food, you can target the previous food. But targeting the food that just came out, so if you have 5 mana and you want to make Tough Cookie and attack with a 4/4, you can't that turn, unless you have some other previous artifact on the battlefield. And this is probably going to get people, because I don't think Arena animates Summoning Sickness for non-creatures.
For food stuff. Yeah, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
Maybe it will. Otherwise, for this set.
Be careful.
Be careful, basically. In paper, if you have 2 foods, like they'll be like, yeah, whatever. You pick the one that was new. In Arena, you have to carefully click on which one and then hope that it didn't just restack them randomly out of spite. Same with Magic Online. So Taken by Nightmares is my next one. Black 2 for an instant. It says exile target enchantment. If you control
exile target creature.
Exile target creature. If you control an enchantment, scry 2. And so this exiles a thing, and then might give you the ability to scry 2 if that creature has a role that you control on it. So notably that cursed roll that we're talking about. You will still scry 2 because that doesn't fall off until after this is done resolving.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't die until afterwards. So if you either enchanted it with there's like a freeze effect that's in the set, and if you still need to kill it because it has text, or you need to get rid of that crystal creature regardless. You'll still get to scry even if that's the only enchantment you controlled, was the one attached to that creature.
I also have to say this is going to win creepiest flavor text. Dying in your sleep is never peaceful when Ashiok is involved.
Yeah.
That's very creepy.
That's yeah. Somebody's like, no. This is how Ashiok should behave as the Lord of Nightmares, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, Picnic Ruiner. I want to talk about Stolen Goodies, but its name is Picnic Ruiner, and it's too good to not mention. And this art is incredible. So, Picnic Ruiner is a red and 1 for a Goblin Rogue. It's a 2/2. Whenever Picnic Ruiner attacks, while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Picnic Ruiner gains double strike until end of turn. And it has an adventure, Stolen Goodies. It's a sorcery. It says distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control.
What a card. Flavor win.
Yeah. He gives away Stolen Goodies, and if somebody is fat enough, then he gets happier.
Story of my life.
Yep. So this says any number on Stolen Goodies. That's great. It means up to 3. Because you only have 3 counters to distribute, and they're distributed while you cast the spell. So you pick, if you have 2 creatures and you give 2 to one and 1 to the other, your opponent knows before the spell resolves what they'll be, because they're distributed during casting, not on resolution.
Yeah. So
it's just the way the rules work for distributing things. Discerning Financier. White and 2 for a creature human noble, and the Disturbing Financier is a 2/3. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a treasure token. And you just tax them for their lands. It's great. And white and 2, choose another player. That player gains control of target treasure you control. You draw a card.
Oh, yeah. I'll make that deal.
Right. It's a great deal. So here is the deal on this deal. It's also backwards. You pick the target treasure first during the activation. Then, while this is resolving, you choose another player. The only target this has is the treasure. You can sacrifice that treasure in response to your activation. If you do that, you won't get to draw a card because the only target it has, the treasure, is illegal.
Right. Gotcha.
And so the whole ability will fail to resolve.
So you can't get real tricky with it.
I mean, you can get real tricky with it, but you'll be punished for being too tricky.
Yeah. You can get real tricky, but to what gain?
Yes,
yeah. You
indeed.
can also technically sacrifice the treasure that you're targeting as part of the activation cost. I suggest you do not do this.
You just want to do just like mess around.
Just cause.
Yeah, if you just need to eat treasure for whatever reason and you don't think that a mana burn exists again, I don't know.
You can just eat treasures for any reason on any time.
It's true.
You don't need
it's
this card to help you out.
I have a big bowl of gold coins at home, and every day I go home and I just eat a gold coin.
That's why Rob has no teeth.
That sounds... I think that there's several physical problems going to begin experiencing.
Man, you know people can eat shopping carts.
It's true. A man once ate an airplane.
Yeah.
But it took him some time.
Yeah, because airplanes are big. Do you know how big an airplane is?
Situation.
There are a lot of different sizes, Rob. It's a trick question.
Like a Hot Wheels airplane, very small.
Very small.
Well, you just swallow them like a baby bird.
This is not a medical podcast.
Please do not take medical advice from this podcast. So moving on to Yenna, Red Tooth Regent. Yenna is white-green 2. She's a legendary creature, elf noble. She's a 4/4. She has 2 tap. Choose target enchantment you control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. Then you'll create a token that's a copy of it, except that copy isn't legendary. Okay. I don't know why. If the token is an aura, untap Yenna Red Tooth Regent, then scry 2. Activate this only as a sorcery. So this is kind of a word base. Basically, you look for something you don't have a copy of, and then she'll let you make a copy of it. And then inexplicably, she untaps yourselves if they're auras. She really, really wants to duplicate your rolls. The thing with the rolls, Wicked Roll is by far her best thing to copy because you put it on the same thing again, and then the old Wicked Roll goes away. You keep the new one, and then they take 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's kind of cool.
If you have 1 Wicked Roll, she can just make Wicked Rolls like as a machine gun. She's very good.
She also looks very melancholy, right?
Yeah, she's very sad that she's evil.
Yeah, right?
My people are both bloom and thorn.
Yeah.
I don't know. She just looks real sad.
Yeah. Sad elf.
It's a cool voice text line. I mean, like Magic, when are you going to start putting voice text lines on your creatures when they enter the battlefield in Arena? You know what I mean?
Aren't there voice text lines on some creatures?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's only planeswalkers.
Okay.
Wow.
And anyway, I've been thinking about it for a long time, basically because I want to do it.
You want them to hire you to do a bunch of voice lines?
Oh, I've said it to them on a number of occasions.
That's fair.
So, the more we can get, the greater the chance.
Well, and
that we
especially
get in
considering they said they're going to one planeswalker per set.
Yeah, I know.
Like it reduces the density of voice text lines very, very much.
But did you hear my addition just said? It was pretty good. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you should clip it as a clean take, and you should just send it to every at Wizards email address you have in your.
I'm sure they will love that.
Yes.
And I mean, also Meghan could voice the Iron Crag, which is a legendary artifact coming up here.
Oh, I would give this thing the voice line of the century.
Okay, well, let's hear it. Here's your audition. It's coming into play. I cast the Iron Crag. It doesn't have flavor text, so we're going to have to think this up here.
Let's get craggy in here.
Hired.
Thank you. I think that was perfect.
Yeah, it was really good.
Both in ideating the line itself and in my performance of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Agree.
I was visioning it a little more, a little more wrestling promo-ish.
Let's get craggy in here.
Real good. See, this, just think of how...
I can give you as many takes as you want.
The Iron Crag. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
So, the Iron Crag. The Iron Crag is a 2-mana legendary artifact. It taps 4 colorless, which is the first 2-mana rock in Pioneer as a node. It has no drawbacks except legendary. Nothing else going on. It's just a 2-mana rock in Pioneer. It's great. I'm excited because I play Pioneer. So, whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may have the Iron Crag become a legendary equipment artifact named Everflame Hero's Legacy. If you do, it gains Equip 3, and equipped creature gets +3/+3 and loses all other abilities.
Weird.
So, this is a strange card. It turns into a Volshock Morningstar. And if you don't remember what that card does, that's because all it does is equipped creature gets +3/+3. Equip 3. That's it.
Yeah.
So the thing that it does is it stops being able to tap from mana if you allow it to change. And it's optional. But it stops having that ability to tap and it changes names, which means you could play another Iron Crag afterwards.
Sure.
Even though Iron Crag is legendary, which I think they're just trying to make you not be punished so much for having 2 legendary things. But the Everflame's not very good.
Fine.
Yeah.
Also, this place has a real problem with Sword and Stone.
Yeah, there's a lot of swords.
I assume
in
this is a giant magnet.
They're waiting for
I
Arthur.
think in my mind, a lot of witches have been and no one shall rule until Sword from Stone, and then no one pulls it out, and another witch goes and is
and also,
and no one shall be a ruler until this sword from
hold
Stone.
up. I
wanted to put my sword in the stone.
Do they also put other criteria on them? This one has to be blonde to take the sword from the stone.
Yeah, every witch has their own rule about how you get the sword from
the
the
king
stone.
will pull this one if the king has 3 fingers, only on the left hand though, but they are right-handed.
Another arena.
Are you auditioning for when it changes into Everflame?
Yeah, precisely.
So Likeness Looter. Likeness Looter is a kind of functional reprint of a legendary creature. It's blue-black for a creature fairy shapeshifter. It's a 1/1. It has flying. It has tap, draw a card, then discard a card. And it has X mana. Likeness Looter becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with mana value X. Except it has flying and this ability. Activate only as a sorcery. Once you make it a likeness, it's no longer a looter. It's very weird.
Looted. It's I found my I want to be.
Yeah.
It drew and discard, and then you paid 2 mana and turned it into a copy of,
someone who likes mayonnaise.
Somebody that likes mayonnaise, yes. And now it can't loot anymore because now it likes mayonnaise and you're not allowed to loot if you like mayonnaise.
True story.
Yeah, it's weird. It's either a likeness or a looter, but never both at the same time.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Okay, cool.
Archon of the Wild Rose.
This card's great.
This card's incredible. It's blue. Yeah, it's white 2. It's white.
You wish.
Yeah, it's white 2 for an Archon. It's a 4/4. It has flying. And it says, other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying.
Soul clap for this one.
Any role that you are, you're probably a 5/5. It's great. So the thing is, though, that there is one role that has problems with this. You remember how we keep talking about cursed role?
Yeah.
So cursed role says, cursed role says enchanted creature is a 1/1. And it has base power and toughness 1/1. And so how do you think this interacts with the Archon here?
Oh, I feel like
I can't answer. I already read your note.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't read it yet. Okay, I feel like this supersedes that and it becomes a 4/4 because it came in later.
Even if I play a cursed role on a creature later?
Oh, if you put it on later, then it goes back to being a 1/1.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Wow,
It's whichever's the latest one
timestamp?
wins. It's
Okay,
timestamp.
okay.
Yep. And the other important thing is auras you control. If your opponent puts a cursed role on your creature, and it's the only aura on that creature, Archon doesn't apply to it because it doesn't have an aura you control on it.
Sure.
However, if they put a cursed role on a creature that has an aura that you control, then it's timestamp. It's whichever entered the battlefield later, the Archon or the aura.
I can't wait to play my roles deck in Standard. They told me that now that they're making Standard 3 years, there's going to be like more cool themed
You get
weird
to play
decks.
like Bogles. There's the one that gives hexproof in a royal role.
I mean, look, they said.
Yeah.
So somebody better make a sweet roles deck in Standard.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to be that
I was
somebody.
gonna say, Maria, be the somebody you need to
Yeah, be the change.
as the iconic.
Try playing Standard again.
Be the likeness looter you wish to be in the world. Loot the likeness of whomst you wish to be.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're going to loot the likeness of Talion, the kindly lord, for our next one.
Absolutely.
Black, blue, 2 for a legendary creature, fairy noble. Talion is a 3/4 and has flying. And as Talion, the kindly lord, enters the battlefield, choose a number between 1 and 10. This includes 1 and 10, by the way. So you can choose 1 or you can choose 10. Don't choose 10. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. This is very good.
I love this card.
It's like it's going to check all of these things at the time that they cast their spell. And so if they're playing, so there's a handful of creatures, like there's the real Bunicorn in this set that have variable power and toughness based on a static ability. That power and toughness is determined all of the time in all zones for the Regal Bunicorn. And for the non-adventure half of Can't Wake Up. I don't remember the name offhand.
Can't wake up.
Yeah. So those have variable power toughness that's determined at the time they're cast. So this doesn't see them as zeros. The one thing that's really interesting is let's pretend that you never had Talion enter the battlefield, but it's on the battlefield.
Sure.
This happens if you like we said, likeness looter it from the graveyard, which is a thing that you can do. You can just suit up to be Talion from your graveyard. If no choice was made, no number was chosen. That's not the same as 0. That's undefined. And so nothing can be equal to that.
Okay.
It's a little strange. It's also not in the release note. I was kind of surprised. But
This card's so interesting, and I just absolutely love the minigame that comes on it.
oh, yes. But the thing is that like you just always pick 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
I think those are almost always the best choices that you can make.
I want somebody's going to have done this math, right, on what is the correct quote-unquote number to choose at the pre-release.
Somebody probably has, but it's almost certainly color dependent on your opponent because the frequency is going to be different in each color combination, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's got to be one overall that is most likely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like what's going to happen is
Let me text Frank.
Yeah, Frank is going to come back and be like, all right, I ran a Monte Carlo simulation of 100,000 pre-release matches. I'd be like, cool. I'm actually genuinely very happy you did this. And I'm glad that I didn't have to.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rob. This stuff is super interesting, and a bunch of things came up that I'm sure that I did not know before you came here and told me, which happens every single time. If there's anything that anybody has any questions about, Rob will stop by our YouTube channel, youtube.com/goodluckihigh5, under the comments of this video for about a week after it's posted to answer stuff. Rob is also in our Discord, by the way.
I'm
if
pretty
you're a
active
patron.
in Discord. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So pay money to get access to me.
Yes. Let me tell you, I would.
It makes more sense than some of the benefits that we offer.
Do you want access to Rob? Consider either becoming a likeness looter or joining our Discord. So thank you for that service, Rob, and for always helping us out every single pre-release. This is very, very cool. Overall, you excited for the set? How are you feeling?
I'm excited for this set. This set looks very pretty.
It looks really nice.
I think that they're doing the thing that they said, all right, what do people remember Eldraine for? They're like, there's food and there's fairies and there's overpowered cards. There are so many 2-1s
That's
for
definitely
one.
what I wanted.
Yeah.
Another.
Do you know what people remember from Eldraine? Some really busted stuff. We
We couldn't wait to see leave the format.
Yeah, they said
Bone
Eldraine is the
Crusher
most
giant.
powerful set of all time. Bone Crusher isn't in the top 10 most powerful cards in Eldraine. In Throne of Eldraine?
Oh, do you mean like Oko? Were you putting Oko in here?
Of course you're putting Oko.
And I'm putting
Are you putting Oko in
I'm putting the fetchable blue regrowth, Mystic Sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
Right?
And the 1 mana green one that had to be insta banned.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, it was 0 mana. Once upon a time was 0 mana.
0 mana.
Or green and 1 if you were a beggar later in the game.
Yeah.
It's very possible Bone Crusher Giant / Stomp is not in the top 10 most powerful cards in the set.
What a statement. I mean, maybe you're right, but I once I started to think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Those cards exist.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like if you search.
So which one of these cards is going to be banned first, Rob? That's my question to you. You're sitting here saying how powerful it is. Which one is it? I'm just sitting here thinking, oh, I hope I can make a white-green rolls deck with this 4/4 flyer.
Yeah, it's gonna be like you're out there playing 4/4 flyers, and everybody else is like tutoring their library and casting spells for free. That bargain spell, right?
Yeah, and also that with single mana Brave the Wild's green spell. Like, I mean, I don't know. That seems like it might be.
That's gonna be good and limited.
enough.
I don't think it's actually super constructed, but
Okay,
there's
okay.
What is it? Rankle's Prank is pretty powerful.
Rankle's
I don't think
Prankle?
it's gonna get banned.
It needs to be called Wrinkles Prankle.
Yeah, it's not, and I don't know why. Beseech the Mirror. Like, Beseech the Mirror is crazy powerful.
What
Black,
does this card do?
1,
Thank you.
sorcery, bargain.
Oh,
Search
yeah.
your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If the spell was bargained, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 4 or less. Put the exiled card into your hand if it wasn't cast this way.
Yucko.
So it's always a demonic tutor, or if you bargain it, it casts the spell for free. And
do you know what? I would like to just casually cast 8 mana of spell on turn 4.
well, so the front half of it isn't real. You're still paying for any 4 in your library.
Yeah.
Right. But that's paying for any 4 in your library.
Yeah.
And so there's,
Yeah.
like, I doubt if Ashiok's going to get banned, even though Ashiok's static ability kills the opponent on the spot for resolving it in Pioneer, because of Aetherflux Reservoir.
Yeah.
So you pay 50 cards to just kill them dead. There's a lot of cards that are just wild.
All
in
right,
this set.
Eldraine, living up to your legacy here in Wilds of Eldraine.
That's what I think is happening.
Okay.
There's a lot of just powerful, aggressive cards, things that outclass other things. There's an instant speed divination. Like, there's 2 different 2/1s for single color, one in red, one in white.
That's
One of
true.
them has an adventure attached for
And
some
people are all
inexplicable
mad
reason.
because they're like, this mouse is now better than a lion, a Savannah lion.
Yeah, exactly. In 2 different ways. Like,
You know what? Every
Yeah.
mouse is great. So
Have you heard the tale about the lion
Yeah.
and the mouse? The mouse wins.
the mouse
yeah.
wins.
Regal Bunicorn is
no.
the same size as
The story of the
Tarmogoyf.
mouse helping the lion. No one wins.
Oh, it's
Cooperation wins.
is this the removing the thorn from the paw? And then the lion like makes out with the mouse thing? Maybe I read a different story.
Robert's a fanfic of the lion and the
crap.
mouse. No, I was thinking the one.
I hear the capitalist version because somebody has to win. Rob's here
Rob's
with
in
the fanfic.
version.
The fanfic
The
version.
version where like the lion is like trapped in some, it's like trapped by vines or ropes or something.
Yeah.
And the mouse come and eat through them.
Yeah, the
Oh.
mouse
And
wins.
help out. Oh my god. I think everybody wins, Maria. I think everyone wins.
Let's talk about Cutest and Grossest card,
Yeah.
shall we? So I'm just going to go on record here and say that I always say, oh, this set is so hard for Cutest card or whatever. But this set is truly the hardest set has ever existed in the history of Magic the
Pretty
Gathering. Almost every single card is a runner-up. So I don't want to go through the list of runner-ups because it's as long as my arm. It's basically every card in the set is a runner-up because they're so incredibly cute. Now, that being said, I can't go here without mentioning at least 3 cards. One of them is Cheeky House Mouse, which is a mouse that's stealing a ring. And I love when creatures steal stuff in Magic. You know.
Yep.
I think it's an extremely cute activity. This mouse is making off with this ring, and even better, someone is mad about it. And I can't also go without mentioning Lord Skitter's Butcher.
I know.
He has a job. He's the size of a man. This is scarier than it is cute.
This is a mouse. He's holding a cleaver with a tiny little chef's hat. This is a Rakakuni situation. And it's a rat peasant, which I think is a very cute creature type. So I've got to give those. I just can't be silent about those two shoutouts.
Yeah.
But rest assured, everybody, if you had a cutest card vote, it is on the list of runners up. But you can't not give the crown here in Wilds of Eldraine to any card other than Regal Bunnicorn.
Yep.
I mean, it is cute.
It's very cute. It's eating dandelion leaves and
Its name is even cute, which is incredible. It's rare, which is not often the case for a cutest card. I don't actually think there's ever been a cutest card rare. Now you can correct me on that, but I think that's the case.
that might be true.
It's got a cute little unicorn horn coming over its cute little bunny head. It's a rabbit unicorn creature type. Give me a break. Congratulations, Regal Bunnicorn. You are cutest card.
You know, a great cutest card.
Yeah, it just had to be.
You know, I felt like this set was because it is so, it is so cute. It was a little more challenging for Grossest card.
Yeah.
Rob feels like many of the candy monsters are gross, but they're just too funny to me.
They're so funny.
Minstrosity, like this card is hilarious.
Very good.
I don't know. But there is one of them that is quite gross. There's just something about it. Maybe it's how purple its guts are. It is Scream Puff.
Scream Puff.
There's Scream Puff reminds, and I think it's because, here's the story. Scream Puff, I think, reminds me of, you remember in Nightmare Before Christmas, there's how they send Santa Claus to be murdered by the nightmare, which is not the actual story, like the boogeyman or whatever.
Yeah.
The boogeyman to me, Oogie Boogie to me, growing up was like one of the most terrifying things I had ever seen.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been. Yeah,
it was absolutely horrifying to me, and I think that this has Oogie Boogie
vibes,
energy.
Yeah, for sure.
And so those also, if you look at his hand, those are like supposed to be tarts, but they kind of look like eyeballs, so I can get why you would be very disgusted by that hand.
It's like eclairs, and I love an eclair, man. But also, I wanted to talk about Tangled Colony because obviously, like Tangle of Rats, there are many cute
it's a rat
in this
king.
set,
yeah,
but this rat is not one of them, and all of its tails tangled together is actually also pretty disgusting to me. And I did want to mention one more because it has the classic eyes where there should not be eyes, which is Wicked Visitor. Put those eyes away.
Yeah.
Sir.
Oh yeah, chest eyes.
No. Yep. Not about it.
Yeah, chastise that guy.
Rob, you have Regal Bunnicorn art over here.
Yeah, these are the sketches. And so the artist had posted the sketches on Reddit.
They're so good.
They're very good. And you can see what Wizards did, which is they picked this sketch, but they said this horn's the best horn. So combine those.
Yeah. And they were right. That horn is the best.
That's a really good horn.
I agree.
Well, congratulations, Cutest and Grossest
regal.
cards. Your crowns this time around. I think this is an all-time set for those crowns.
Yeah.
You already know. I think that the pet for this is the all-time pet on Arena.
Yeah, the goose.
I cannot get enough of the goose.
Meghan loves that goose.
Is it the Hydra Goose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Mother
it
Goose.
makes a honk. When the game starts, it honks once, and it has the little lines for honking, and then all its heads honk.
So good.
I just think about it sometimes during my day.
How can you not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've got my honorable mention Cutest card, which isn't even in booster packs. It's in Jumpstart, which is
this
Food
doesn't
Coma.
count, Rob. I'm just
it
gonna
doesn't
say.
count, but
They're so
they're
cute.
bumble sheep.
You can.
I know.
The bumble sheep. Oh yeah,
And you know
the
what?
bumble sheep are great.
Bees always get bees are cute. All right, everybody. Bees are cute.
They
The
are.
fatter the bee, the better. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And these are fat little bumble sheep bees, and they're very cute.
Did you shear a bumble sheep?
And wear a bumble sheep sweater.
Yeah.
Wow.
I absolutely would.
Yeah, same.
Well, everybody, that's this episode of Good Luck High Five. Thank you once again to Judge Rob for coming and hanging out with us, being a great judge as always.
As always.
We get top tier judge on this program.
Yeah, we do.
We serve great judge. We're serving. That sounds like I'm offering him up for dinner.
Yeah, it really does.
It's not what I mean.
It's a real Silence of the Lambs situation.
But it's like top tier judge. We're not
Yeah.
just bringing any judge in here.
No.
We're bringing Judge Rob.
we're bringing
in here.
Judge Rob. But
Yeah. I hope you have a great pre-release,
Yeah.
everybody. We'd love to see anything that you open your pools, your thoughts on the
send us,
format.
yeah, send us photos. You can tweet them at us. I'm over on Blue Sky now, which is actually the only one that I checked.
I know. I'm on Blue Sky too, but I haven't fully migrated because I'm kind of like waiting to see like which one will be
Maria,
the one.
you have to commit to help make it the one. That's what I'm doing with Blue
I
Sky.
know.
I have decided.
Yeah, that's the one you put your flag in the sand, ground, sand.
The moon.
Why did I choose sand?
I don't know. You think there's a
all
lot of
ground
Well, okay.
types.
Do you know what? You arrive in a boat. You are gonna first put it in
that's
sand.
true. That's true. And it's
So.
a blue sky. Maybe I thought of the beach. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. We can put them in
Send me a photo over on Blue Sky. I'll
Do
look
it.
at your deck list.
Absolutely.
For the pre-release, or obviously if you're a patron,
Patron
thank you so much
in the Discord.
once again to Marco.
Yes, thank you, Marco. I want to
being our new
see
patron.
a picture of your deck if you go to the pre-release,
Yeah.
Marco. You can tag us in Discord, by the way, to get
Yeah.
our attention if you want to show us something in particular. You can become a patron and do that and bug us virtually by going to patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Talk to me about my obsession with the goose pet on Arena.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great goose pet.
So good.
We got the first photos from our Flag Means Death season 2 posted, and maybe
Yeah.
by the time you listen to this, the trailer for season 2, so you know I'm going to be in that channel
Maria's
in
gonna
our
be
Discord.
over there. Yeah, there's an Our Flag Means Death channel in our
Talking
Discord.
about
so
that because it needs to be
Get
talked
over
about.
there.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's a large overlap here in these fandoms, Magic and
Probably.
Our Flag Means Death. And so yeah, we've got a great community over there, and if you want to join it, patreon.com/GLHF Magic. Thanks again to Card Kingdom for being awesome as always.
Yeah.
Pre-order your set now. It comes out next week. It's like the fall is here. This is the big rotation
Wow.
moment, but there's no rotation
There's
this
no
time.
rotation this time.
Except alchemy, but we don't talk about alchemy.
No. No.
Join us next week for all of our first thoughts on Wilds of Eldraine.